Hello. Gonna try this. Okay, guys. I'm just trying to get back to something. Okay. Hopefully, we'll see what works. Sorry. It's a mirror in front of me. Okay, I am going to just share this to my women creating healthy lives. Hello, Laura. Okay, let's make sure everything's working good. Okay, welcome those who are live, coming on live, and those who are just watching the replay. I hope this is bright enough. I think it is. Let me check it out one more time. I see it as darker than what shows on Facebook, so that's why I'm doing this. It looks good. All right, so we're going to have a discussion here today about these changes. And, you know, the thing is, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. Then we're going to go through some of the physical symptoms that you could experience, the physical. And then, of course, the emotional, which actually ends up to be such a huge part of it. And what I see, like how I see the importance of the emotional stuff that comes up and how important it is to kind of deal with that and how we can better deal with it and all of that stuff. Because the emotional part is such a huge aspect of it, but people don't understand, right, how big it is. Hello, hi Beverly. So it's really, really good to take time to watch this and think about it, because you will, you know, when I was going through it, I'm just having my tea here. When I started about the age of 43. That was what I was guessing. And I didn't know what I was going through. I was feeling off. So I had digestive problems a lot since my 20s. It's been my weak thing. But they were getting better. So the 30s were my best decade of my entire life, and still are. You know, it was when I was in the best shape of my life, when I looked the best, when everything was going really good. That was the best decade. So then I got into my early 40s and everything was still pretty good, you know. But then headaches, digestive problems that I had gotten pretty well over, was really doing well from, kind of got worse. So that's what started getting really bad. I got way more headaches. I got really bad digestive problems again. Hello, Mary. And then night sweats started coming in, a little bit of anxiety, emotions started getting out of control. And so these things, I was like, what is going on? So whoever's on, say hello in the comments so that I know who's watching. That would be wonderful. Just step in and say hello. For sure. At any time, you can ask me questions or put comments in, because then I'd be happy to answer some. And if I happen to miss it, please put it in again, because the comments scroll and I can't sometimes see them very well. Okay, so I was going through these, you know, what I really was noticing, a lot of the emotional things, the mood swings that were getting pretty crazy and over emotional. Hello, Lisa. And feeling a little bit depressed and anxious, which I had never experienced anxiety before, ever. So all these things were happening and I was like, what? You know, I'd just been through the 30s, which was my best decade. Hi, Lori, of my life, right? And so then all of a sudden starting to feel not good. And that's what led me to go, oh my God. I got scared. I kind of got a little scared, because I was like, oh my God. Like when you go from feeling your absolute best to start feeling like everything's breaking down and you're going crazy, because so much of it was emotional too. So much was this emotional turmoil. So my personality, like it felt like I had this deep fog come over me, let's say. And I didn't know why. My life outside had not changed. My physical body, other than the problems I was starting to have, my physical body was still, I'm like, what is going on, right? And then, you know, I went to see my doctor when I was going for a regular checkup, whatever. And, you know, my doctor's like, well, I'm like, what is, you know, nothing, you're wrong. You may be antidepressants, of course, which they put everybody on, which is so ridiculous. But also, you know, because he said I was way too young for menopause. There's no way I'm even going through any of the change of life yet. My period started to get like kind of out of control. And so this was like, what? So I really just kind of sat with that for a while, but I started to feel worse and worse. And that's what led me into working on my diet. Then when I, because my digestive problems were so bad. So I was trying to do so many things, and I went to naturopaths, and I went to herbalists, and I went to acupuncture. I did energy work with my body, which all of those things, you guys, did help to some degree, and I highly recommend them, right? But then the weight gain started happening, and I can't remember what age that was. I was a personal trainer and a yoga instructor, and I started noticing that I was starting to gain weight around the midsection. And I was always, had that really fit body, more of a sporty, I'm not curvy, more of a sporty body, but I'd never had a problem with weight gain before. But I also ate pretty well, and I exercised a lot. So when I continued to do those things, eat what I thought was really good and exercise, and yet the weight gain was still coming on. So what used to work wasn't working anymore. And that's what went. Plus the emotional stuff, the anxiety, the memory problems were starting to happen. Of course, my vision was getting worse. The digestive problems, more headaches. And I was just like going, oh my God. I felt like everything was starting to crumble around me. And of course, that again affects your moods, the way you feel about yourself, the way you think. So of course, it affects everything in your life, everything. Your relationships, the way you're effective at your job, the way you are in your social life, how you are with your friends. I felt like just retreating and being by myself. I didn't want to be with anybody else because I didn't understand or know why I was going through so much of these emotional things, up and downs, not feeling happy, feeling a bit depressed, crying a lot. I was like, what? I knew though that I did for myself. I had never struggled with anxiety or depression or anything. So I knew myself that this was something different. Like, what is this? So it was this whole body thing plus emotional thing. And that led me to start researching on my own. Like I said, I was in my early 40s. So I just started researching, and I kind of came, at that time, you guys, there was really no YouTube, where it was just beginning. I can't remember. There were, Facebook wasn't around. There was the only resource I had to go to were books. And so I just kind of like started thinking, well, let's look for hormones, food, right? What's affecting me? What's affecting me? And so I started looking into food, and that's when I kind of came across the preservatives and the junk in the wine, the sulfites in the wine. And that led me to kind of reading more labels and then getting like, oh my God, there's so much junk in this world. And no wonder I'm feeling so horrible, right? And then I stumbled across, I guess, looking up menopause, figuring out, because it's hormonal changes, right? So then when I began to read what perimenopause and menopause, and I didn't know, I'd never heard of perimenopause before. So perimenopause is the time of life when your hormones start to fluctuate because as you are aging, your ovaries are producing less estrogen. So you are starting to go through changes, which, really can begin very early. It's just they start very slow and the symptoms are very light. And the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause, which we'll talk about, can be symptoms that are associated with so many other things, right? Some people get them, some people may not. Some people get way more, some people don't, right? I mean, every woman is completely different. So you can't compare yourself. You can't ask one friend, and because she's not experiencing what you are, it doesn't mean you're going crazy or you're not experiencing it, or it is not anything to do with midlife, right? So the hormonal changes start. Perimenopause. You still have your period in perimenopause, but your period could be really super heavy. You could miss it 2 months. You could spot. You could be all over the place, right? Here, there, everywhere. And then again, you could all of a sudden start getting cramps again. Your face can break out. Acne can happen again. You can start getting pimples again. Breakouts, right? All of these things start. And that's when it's like, what? So I knew it had to be hormones, and that's what led me to this. Because if you think about it, when girls are going through adolescence, right, that is a big hormonal change in their body. So we are used to hearing about that. We're used to reading about that. We may have raised daughters who have been through that. You got to realize you are going through a lot of the same thing. It's the opposite. They are, getting older and coming into their womanhood, right? We are, not that we're ending our womanhood, but our ovaries are starting to produce less and less estrogen all the time. And so we have a lot of hormones, because cortisol is a hormone, insulin's a hormone, but what the hormones I'm talking about are testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. There's, of course, DHEA, which is the mother hormone that helps to produce all of them, but we're just going to stick with the three. And so progesterone is a hormone that starts to increase in women because they are it helps you get pregnant. It helps, right? Develop thing. So that's kind of the pregnancy hormone that helps us be more fertile. It helps the circulation. It helps in our skin, and all of that stuff. Really good for a whole bunch of things. And so what's happening there is the hormonal fluctuation is starting to go like this, right? Because we're growing, we're changing inside. So the same thing begins to happen when you're going through middle age, when you're going through perimenopause. Again, things are a lot. So our hormones are pretty much always changing. If you consider we got insulin and cortisol, which are always fluctuating too, right? So note that there's no way you're ever completely balanced for any length of time. That's just not it. So we're constantly kind of going like this, right? But there's stages of our lives when the changes can be much more drastic. And so when you're going through perimenopause, they are. And everyone gets it, and everybody starts at a different time, and the experience can be completely different from one person to another, because our bodies are different, as well as our emotions are different, as well as the baggage we are carrying, as in our beliefs, our limiting beliefs, how we were treated when we were young is all different, right? So our body's going through these changes, and that's what causes the weight gain too. If we are more in stress, that causes more weight gain. So this weight gain starts to come on, right? And that's what can be frustrating. So many women come to me when the weight gain starts to happen, but they don't realize that they've probably been noticing symptoms, and a lot of the other things that are going on are also a result of these changing hormones. Weight gain is just one of the symptoms. So some of the physical symptoms are digestive problems, headaches, more headaches than usual. Like I said, your period could be just completely out of this world and different and changing all the time. And the bloating, which is the digestive problems. You get anxiety, may feel depressed, over emotional, so you have emotional up and downs really high. Hi, I don't know, there's a comment. And thinning hair. Oh my God, Lori, thank you. That is still happening to me. I started taking biotin. It did not happen, Lori, to me until I was finished menopause, way finished. Yeah. So that was one I do forget. So thank you for that. Yes, thinning hair. Also, because your adrenal glands are affected, your thyroid gland is affected, which can cause the thinning hair too, right? So that's why too. So when your hormones are being like this, it affects other glands in your body. Your adrenal glands produce hormones, your thyroid glands produce hormones. So you got to watch it. In midlife, we can have issues with various functionings of our body because the chemicals, and you heard that someone has a chemical imbalance that causes them to feel depressed or feel whatever. Hormones are the chemicals of our body. So when they are changing and shifting, they affect everything. You can have constipation. You can have the opposite. You can end up with thyroid problems, right? You can end up with insulin resistance, metabolic disorder if you don't change your eating. What are some other symptoms? What are some symptoms you guys are noticing? Not sleeping well, memory problems, totally memory problems. I used to teach yoga and I was even talking backwards. I would talk like, I would be teaching a yoga class. I'd completely forget what I was about to do next. I'd forget the sequence I just did, and I would say things in reverse order, which was so bizarre. That's when I thought I was going crazy, but that was just part of this whole thing. And the foggy brain, low energy, feeling exhausted, feeling tired, all of those symptoms too. Yeah. So how we process carbohydrates actually changes, and that's why we get a lot of weight gain. And that's why when you tend to continue to eat, we're just going to talk about this real quick, the breads, the muffins, I don't care if they're gluten-free or non-gluten-free or whatever, you're continuing to eat that white flour stuff and starches during this phase of life, you will gain weight. You will not release the weight. You will not lose the weight. If you continue to eat those things, you are going to continue probably to gain weight. Our body, during this phase of life, we take in those simple carbohydrates, they go right to fat. Just go right to fat, right? So that's a big problem, right? Thinning hair, lack of sleep, foggy head. Hi, I'm from the UK. Oh, Brenda! Right on, so good. Okay, anybody else have any other symptoms? Post them below, because, when I rattle them off, I completely can forget some, right? Completely. Yeah, and say hi if you just join in too. I'd love to see who else is on. Now, what else have I said here I'm going to talk about? Because I want to keep it. The misconceptions. Oh my goodness, the misconceptions. So one thing that is really hard is that people always make fun of women in their midlife, right? Joint pain and stiffness. Thank you, Lori. Another one I never thought of. I was really into working out and doing adventure races. So to me, at that phase of life, I was just thinking it had to do with that. But thank you so much. That's very true. Yeah. But misconceptions, the people laugh at women in midlife, she's just a midlife craziness. And we think of guys, their midlife change is going out and dating younger women and on and all this stuff. See, guys go through what's called andropause. So they actually can experience many of the same symptoms we do. And the increase in estrogen, which is the decrease in testosterone for men, causes them to have, all of a sudden you see guys getting a little bit larger breasts, getting a little fatty around there and bigger stomachs. Yep, they get that. I wish our breasts would get larger, but they don't. Some do, but most don't. That would be cool. The men's do. God damn, eh? Moodiness. Yeah, I talked about that. Emotional. You may feel like when I was pregnant, I'd have spurts of being like, right? Like just all of a sudden go from one state to exact the opposite. Like, oh my God, I'm crying and mad. See, that's another hormonal change. So that can happen to us in midlife. You got to remember, our hormonal changes can cause. Think about when you were pregnant. Think about when you were going through adolescence. Expect much of the same. You're not going crazy. You are not. If you go to your doctor and your doctor is like, wants to put you on antidepressants or synthetic hormones, they call them just hormones, hormone replacement therapy, I want you to really think. Now, I am not saying, because I know people get really harsh on this, don't ever take antidepressants. I'm not saying if you're clinically depressed, don't take it. I'm not saying that. I am saying if you check in with yourself and if you go, well, I've never really been depressed or anxiety. I am now, but I never was. Like, all of a sudden, then just think about it. Think, could this be and it is, the hormonal fluctuation change. How can I handle it better? What can I do for myself? So that's what we're going to talk about, okay? We're going to get into some of that now. So I didn't get into the complete details of the physical, why these things happen to you, because I have done lots of videos on YouTube. If you guys want to hear more about the hormones and stuff, I do have videos on that. This is kind of about, we're having a discussion about what you can expect and the side that a lot of people don't talk about, the emotional side, the changes that go on with us, with it as a person and how we feel, right? As in our moods and stuff. Hot flashes, yes, that comes on later too. It's like, yeah, waking, no kidding. Low libido, thank you. Hello, I'm from New Hampshire. Sometimes I feel like I'm a teenager again. You are. That's because, like we talked about, Heather, you are going through another change that is like adolescence. So you're going to go through many of the symptoms that they do too. Brat to my parents, I'm a brat to my husband. Yes, that's not funny, but it's so true. So true. And low sex drive. I always was someone who had a very high sex drive, loved sex, never had a problem with it. I was one of those girls friends, right, who was like, I could never imagine not wanting sex, never imagine blah, blah, blah. Oh, Christ, wait till you're freaking close to 50, girl, then talk. So I had no idea. So when I get to close to, and my testosterone started to drop, and I all of a sudden had like no sex drive. That's for the first time in my life, right? And some women still have it. I'm not saying you have to have this. No, some women experience it way more than others. And it also, there's so many aspects of this, right? Now, this is where the emotional part comes in and what's coming up in midlife. So over all these years, we have, so in our 20s and 30s, even early 40s, even some women in their 40s are still dealing with their kids, right? Their families, they're raising their kids. You had to take time away from yourself in those years because you were raising a family or building a career. So it was all about that, not you. Understandable. That's what the 20s and 30s are kind of about, right? And then when your kids start to grow and they don't rely on you as much and all of this, and these changes within us come up, the perimenopause, the hormonal changes, they begin to bring things up within us. They begin to bring uneasiness, feeling unsettled, feeling unfulfilled, feeling cranky, feeling resentful, feeling this, you may not, but many go through this. Feeling like, oh my God, is this all there is to life? I thought I'd be further off in life. When I pictured myself at 50, I thought of myself as way different than this. What's happened to me? Where am I? Who am I now? Oh my God, I don't like my life anymore. I don't like my husband anymore. I don't think, I cannot tell you, I spent every single night in my bathtub reading Eat, Pray, Love. And I read that book about 6 times. When I was going through these emotional changes. That's all I knew that would make me feel better, was have a hot bath and I'd read Eat, Pray, Love. That's all I could do. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to talk to my boyfriend. He didn't have no clue what I was going through. I was changing so much inside. I didn't know how to handle it. And I couldn't talk to him for sure. Because all that would be like, well, you're just different. I don't know why you're different. Why don't you want to do this anymore? Why don't you want to do that anymore? Right? And you're just like, I don't even want to deal with this. Leave me alone. So if you are feeling like you just want to be away from everybody and everything, that is quite normal. Because it is a time for you to rediscover yourself. It is a time for you to learn more about you. It is a time for you to take time for you, right? That is what this midlife, like you could jump out of your own skin. Absolutely. It's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like I really have, that's why I said I was very focused. I just read that book and I sat in the bath. But I also had my business, right? That I was, at that time I was into raw foods. And so I had a passion. And I knew I had a purpose to share information and to help with health, with women in health and wellness, right? That's what I've been doing, you guys, for years and years and years. I was always there. And so thank God I have that and had that. So what I encourage you is if something's coming up within you where you are feeling so much like something needs to bubble up, it feels like you've been pushing something down for so many years. And like you said, something crawling out of your skin, Lori, it's like something in you needs to emerge and come out, right? But we've been holding it in because we don't feel safe to share. We don't feel safe to be a different kind of a person than everybody thinks we are, right? So when you are married and you have kids and you're living a life that you designed actually in your 20s, now that you're 40s or closer to 50, it may not be you anymore. You are actually living like you have, but you're changed inside, but your exterior part, the way you are, hasn't changed. So you begin to feel the difference. Now, this is not for everybody. You may begin to feel like, well, something's not right. I should be happy. I have a great husband. I have great kids. I have a great life. I have a beautiful home. I live in a gorgeous place, but I'm not. Something's wrong. Something's not happy. And then we begin to feel guilty about it. Like, oh my God, I should not. I should feel happy. I should be really happy right now. There's no reason for me to feel like this, right? And that brings across us feeling down about ourselves, ashamed, not wanting to share because we're ashamed of how we feel. That all also has to do with there's something in you that needs to come up. You're just realizing now that you have changed inside as a person, which is totally natural. Everybody does. So when you look at your friends or other people around you, they are probably changing on the inside too. It's just they're not brave enough or not open enough to let that change come out, right? So it's about learning, who am I now? How can I truly live who I am now without feeling like people are going to look at me and go, why is she doing that? She never does that. She's never been like that. Because that's what happens. People start to see and judge you because they're like, well, I mean, but you got to get over it. Because I've had that. You guys, I get that all the time. You know, my mom, I don't understand how you ended up the way you are. You're so different than me. Why are you? Oh my God, Diana. Oh my God, Diana. Oh my God. I hear that. I used to hear that all the time, right? If you feel like there's something within you where you're not truly being or feeling yourself, like you feel something's different, then that just means it's okay. Now I need to discover who I really am, what I really want to do with my life. If I don't feel fulfilled, what will help me to feel fulfilled? Because pushing all that down, that is also when the symptoms, the emotional stuff will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because it's really a call to action for you. It's supposed to happen. It's all supposed to come up, right? But you know, it's like a beach ball. The more you try to push it down, the more it's just going to want to pop up, right? And so the more we push things down, we get energy blockages within our body because our body works so hard. So we put so much energy into pushing it down, and that will leave you feeling very tired and very exhausted. So there's reasons why you may be feeling very tired and very exhausted. Also having to do with your adrenal glands and continued stress in your life, right? Your adrenal glands produce the cortisol, the adrenaline. And if you live in a high state of stress, like, oh my God, I got to do this, oh my God, and you're panicked, which we tend to feel more of in our midlife stage because, like I said, the emotions are coming up. So we're like, like this. Then, and also you're working at always controlling yourself because you're like, don't cry now, don't get upset, don't yell. Oh my God, especially if you're at work or you're around family, right? You're trying to control what always wants to bubble up. And so that a lot of energy goes into the control of your emotions, trying to be a certain way, trying to act a certain way, try to continue to do it all the time. Do it all for everybody. Think of everybody else first. Put yourself last, right? All this is going on. And then you build the resentment. Then the resentment comes. Oh my God, right? Even though you don't want to feel the resentments, it's there. So all of this also leads to exhaustion and feeling really tired. And what that happens, when your adrenal glands are tired, when you're under stress, it blunts hormone production. So therefore, your hormones are going to be even more out of balance and more depleted. That makes your symptoms worse. That causes more weight gain, more stress. You can't sleep. Your hair thins because your thyroid then gets affected. You see what I mean? Your digestive problems can get worse. It's just your inflammation increases in your body. So stress and all that also causes more inflammation within the body. So then more achy joints, aching, right? Any comments? Do you guys have any comments or any questions about all that, just that point, that part that I've covered? Can you relate? Can you see how that might be happening? Do you have any awarenesses? I'll wait. Comments coming later than when let me guys know if you're relating to this, if this makes sense, if anything's coming up for you. Post a comment so I can see your comments. Hey, Jennifer. Yes. So it does. It's really, so that's why I really wanted to, and I'm here to answer any of your questions if you guys have questions too. That's why I think this is so important. But let's talk about the weight gain, the food and stuff too, right? Yeah. So let's talk about the food, the weight gain and all of that too, right? Now, so what I was talking about, the emotional side of it, right? As in, as when we feel all this emotional stuff come up, right? We need to deal with that, right? So you need to look at how can I become more me? How can I do things that make myself more happy? I'm addicted to chocolate. Yes, I was too in perimenopause. Good thing to do, Beverly, but you'll be in my 21-day program, so you're going to learn some things too. But to get the chocolate thing, it's like a bit of chocolate, a bit of cut up some apple and have some apple with it, some other fruit with it. Don't just have just the chocolate in front of you, have celery, so you're alternating. That's what I did to decrease my chocolate. Also a lot more greens. You probably have a lot of greens already, but okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about the food aspect. You know, kind of how that affects, why that's different at this phase. And what I see, some women, some of the biggest mistakes women make at midlife, that still causes the weight gain, still that. But before I do that, I want to mention, you guys have probably seen that I have a 21-day program starting. It's actually going to be 4 weeks because we're doing a pre-start this Monday, January 15th. We're going to do some pre-work. If you join up now, you'll get in on the pre-work, which is the first week. So it's really going to start on January 22nd. But if you get in, of course, sign up, you get an extra week, which is amazing. It's done on a Facebook group. It's done with me doing trainings with you like this very specifically, according to what you desire. We work on the mindset, which, oh my God, as you heard, the emotional issues that pop up during this phase of life, huge, right? We're gonna learn more about that, how to handle them, what to do, little stress reduction things on, all that. And then of course the food, which is a huge part of it, because if you don't get the food thing figured out, that can cause, like, again, the inflammation, the continued weight gain that you cannot get rid of. So there's all those things, and that's what we're going to deal with in the 21-day program, $97 plus you get 2 free months in my Inner Circle coaching program, 2 free months, which is $94 value. My Healthy Happy You coaching group that continues, you get 2 free months in that, and I do specific trainings in that group and there's a lovely group of women in there, wonderful. All you have to do, I'm going to post the link in here right now, and then you guys will see it. And then we're going to talk about the food, which is, so yeah, this 21-day is such an amazing price for what I'm going to do. Why, too, I absolutely love doing these types of groups. And there's such a perfect place for those who haven't worked with me before or have and need to actually get back on track, or need to learn, want to say, I just want, just tell me where to start. Tell me where to start. I have no clue, right? So anybody can get in this. Anybody can afford this. And I mean, this is why I'm doing it. So I can get, you know, as many people as possible. So let's change. Let's feel better now. It's totally possible. The food. What I see as some of the biggest mistakes for women in this phase of life is how they start their day in the morning and what they continue to eat. Now, I get a lot of questions about calories and macros and, you know, this and that, and weighing your food and counting points, and oh my God, no, you don't need to do any of that if you learn the right way to eat for you. Now, I do not have a specific diet for every woman. What I want to do is help you to discover what works best for you. Because when you learn that, when you know that, you never have to diet or follow a specific strict plan because you already know what works for you. The thing is that when people gain the weight and they don't know what to do, they look and they say, someone says, try this diet, this will work, you will lose 20 pounds, you will do this. Their friend got great results. They try it, didn't work. Now there's a few things going on. Your mindset didn't allow it to work, or you keep sabotaging yourself. Another thing, it wasn't the right food for your body. Another thing, it wasn't the right food for someone your age. Like having a big bowl of oatmeal in the morning is not the right food for someone, a woman in midlife. Is it the right food for a 35-year-old who runs? Yes. Right? So, vegan diets. I do not tell people to be vegan. I have been vegan. That's why I lost a lot of weight. I was a raw vegan, right? But eventually I had to eat more. My body started telling me I need different types of foods. So that's what is so important to understand when we talk about the food. Yes, there are specific foods in midlife that can help you to release the weight, decrease inflammation, and have more energy. Absolutely. And that's what you learn in my programs. Absolutely. And yes, there are foods, no matter what type of woman you are, that you eat and you will gain the weight. And those are the breads, the heavy starches, the muffins, the scones, junk food, packaged food with no nutrients, pastas, any kind of pasta. So when you eat food that don't have a lot of nutrients in it, that is what causes your body to say you're still hungry, to cause you to gain more weight. And when your hormones require nutrients, your hormones require nutrients, right? When you do not get the right nutrients, you're not supporting your hormones. So of course, what's going to happen? They're not going to function properly. Therefore, your symptoms, the weight gain and everything, right? If you're not eating the right foods and you're eating the foods that actually cause the weight gain, that actually go right to fat, no matter what you do, therefore you're going to keep gaining the weight. That's how important the food is during this time. As well, foods like the starches, the white flours, the pastas, eating more of those, even the oatmeals, the cooked oatmeals, things like that, the granola bars, the oat bars, all of those things, they will cause weight gain. They could also cause more digestive problems, and they cause inflammation in your body. Inflammation. So the dairy can cause is mucus forming, inflammation, and acidic for you. It's not good for you. So the yogurts, the cheeses, all of those things. So when someone says they're keto or they're paleo or things like that, and they're consuming, I agree with lots of that because there is less carbohydrates, starchy carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates are also broccoli. So I believe in a ton of vegetables and greens, right? But also there's things like your healthy fats. You do not go on a fat-free diet at this age. That is not, you need healthy fats, and you need a lot of healthy fats. Your hormones need omega-3s to function and to grow. So that's very, very, very important, is omega-3s too. All right. Is there any more questions? So it's really about feeding your body the right foods to feed your hormones. So the foods that your hormones and every cell in your body needs to function at its best, to support it, to be higher alkaline, less acidic. So it's extremely important what you eat. And that'll help assist your body in releasing weight, or what you eat could also add the weight at this phase. So that's how important it is for the weight, is what you eat. Does anybody have any questions? If someone just jumped on, say hello. I know I've been going for 40 minutes here, so I've talked a lot, but this will be up on Facebook. So of course, it's in my Facebook group, women. If you're a woman over 40 and you just kind of got introduced to me or whatever, join my Facebook community, Women Creating Healthy Lives, because I do my trainings like this there. And in my coaching group, I do not do very many on my regular Facebook, but I'm doing it today because I wanted to see if there was more women I could reach who haven't joined my community yet. So, all right. So we've talked about my experiences. I talked to you about my story and how I got on this path. And I talked to you about the emotional side, the physical symptoms of and the difference between perimenopause and menopause, and what experience, right? So I forgot to mention, menopause, you actually in menopause when you haven't had a period for 1 full year. So you're perimenopause, and when you haven't had a period at all for 1 full year, then you are in menopause. And then basically you're postmenopausal. And yes, you can have hot flashes. I still have them. I've been over menopause since I was 48 years old, and I'm 54. So I finished very, very young, but I still get hot flashes, and I still get ups and downs. I still can get mood swings. I can still get headaches during the monthly cycles of hormone feeling off. And our hormones are always changing, you guys. My estrogen is dropping a lot now. So our estrogen as we age drops more and more and more. And I haven't talked about bioidentical hormones in this video or some of the supplements and stuff, because that's not what this video is about. But I do in my programs, in my coaching, in my groups. So like again, if you want to join 21-day program, that is the best price, the best program for you to get into now. For sure, you will learn. And it's also about what you guys want to learn. You can ask me questions in the group. I will tell all, and you'll get all the recipes, you get all the mindset stuff, the journaling, and we will deal with the hormones if that's what you wish to. So get into a program, get help, get advice, get support, be around women who know what you're going through, be around a supportive community. DianaMarchand.com/21-day-program. You also get 2 months after that of a coaching group with me. So you're going to stay on track. You're going to learn so much. You are just going to learn so much. I can't even explain it. It's just, you'll be a different person. You'll be a different person after. That's all I can say. It changes so much. Once you really understand what's going on inside, how to cope with it, how to deal with it, and also the food aspect of it, changes everything. If you have any questions, I am free here. You can post even after this video is done. You can send me a message through Facebook. You can send me an email. My website's DianaMarchand.com, where you can find a contact page, get a hold of me there. If you have any questions about the program, any more coaching or programs that I do, or how I can assist you better, just reach out to me. I am here for you. Thank you so much for those who watched live. And thank you so much for those who are watching the replay. I totally appreciate it. You're a bright light in life. Enjoy your videos. Thank you. Oh, you're so welcome, Lori. I hope you join the program. I'd love to have you in the 21-day program. Seriously, it's the best price ever. I'm just really excited to do it. It's just I love it. So I hope I see you there. Check it out. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.